Trevor Bauer, guys. What do you guys got? Like, is there a situation, a team, a franchise, an organization, a city that wants this man as a part of within a 50-mile radius of where they play baseball? Or is this a done deal where he's trying to find somewhere overseas to play? Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dugout. It is another edition of a baseball podcast, the best baseball podcast around. We know it's the middle of the NFL playoffs, but we are still here in the middle of January to give you baseball all day, all the time. I'm Cardinals fanatic AJ Caldwell. That is the Yankees ride or die guy, Drew Zagrossi. And our third man, the Green Monster Man, as I like to call him, Boston Red Sox guy, Ben. How we doing, fellas?
We're doing
all right.
Ben, how are we?
We're ready.
How are we feeling about Mr. Adam Duvall?
I don't hate. You know what I'm more excited about? I'm more excited about Alfaro. I like the Alfaro signing a lot, a whole lot. I mean, he's tearing it up in the Dominican League right now.
There you go. Good go.
Sign.
We're gonna get into a lot of that today. Just had to get the initial reaction from our new friend over there. But as always, we got lots to get to. But first and foremost, make sure to like and subscribe, rate and review the podcast. Check us out on multiple social media platforms, as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out once a week as we drop this podcast on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other streaming platforms. Let's get right into it, fellas. We got another top five.
Yes,
we're getting to the end of the teams here, which means we're getting down to some new segments coming in soon. But for now, Drew and Ben, we're doing one of Drew's most hated teams.
Yeah.
I wanted to say most lovable, but you can't even sugarcoat it with this. The New York Mets, the top 5 New York Mets of all time. Drew, I feel like this is payback because that one episode we did the top 5 Brewers, and I basically, clenched my teeth and got through it. Your turn.
Yeah, that's fair.
To go through the top 5 Mets. So, boys, as you guys always do, go back and forth. Top 5 New York Mets.
Well, I'll go 5th, but we do have an honorable mention that I'll let Ben go ahead and talk about.
Yeah, so we wanted to highlight David Wright. When we made the list, initially we had him on it. When you kind of look at the numbers, it really isn't fair to leave a couple of the other guys off. So our honorable mention, Captain America, David Wright. Mr. Met, I would say. I mean, everyone knows David Wright, staple of that franchise, just the face of that franchise for over a decade. But couldn't make the cut, so had to shout him out.
Nope, he will not be on our top 5 Mets.
Like that was Drew's doing.
But yeah, we definitely had to mention him. Alrighty, so number 5 spot. Might throw a lot of people off. We have Keith Hernandez, a guy that I personally feel was just like an underdog for the Mets. Unknown, like captain, unnamed, just real leader in that clubhouse. And yeah, I mean, arguably like one of the best defensive first basemen of all time, as well as a great contact hitter throughout his career. So yeah, give me Keith at number 5. Anything you'd like to say about him, Ben? Go ahead.
No, I mean, the guy was just consistent as ever. Definitely one of the more slept on guys in terms of just kind of the story of baseball. He's not even a Hall of Famer. I'm assuming he's off the ballot by now. But I mean, definitely a guy that was deserving of so. Definitely a Mets Hall of Famer. He probably is, I would assume. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about first baseman and mention Keith Hernandez, because when you talk about the Hall of Fame first baseman out there, there's a lot more names that come to your mind first, especially because he just wasn't really a power guy, so he often gets left off a lot of lists, but great player. Number 4, we had Mike Piazza. He's a top 3 catcher of all time, I would say. 59 career WAR, 427 homers, just missed the 500. Career 308 batting average, which is ridiculous, especially when you put it in a scale of catchers, because catchers typically aren't the biggest bats in the lineup. Hall of Famer, 10-time Silver Slugger winner, which is it's just absurd. And a 12-time All-Star as well.
Yes, sir. AJ, you know this because of the segment that I used to do, but me and AJ did not know much about Mike's early life. So, yeah, I mean, he just grew up into this like baseball family right away. His dad was really into it. Wasn't in the big leagues, but always wanted his son to pursue that. And yeah, he took like batting cage lessons with like Tommy Lasorda as well, and Ted Williams. So I mean, two big names right there. So yeah,
I do have a question though. Like, when you think of Mike Piazza, what team do you associate with him? Like off the bat, without thinking about it. Like, do you see him in a Dodgers uniform or a Mets uniform?
No.
Mets?
Sometimes can see him in an A's uniform, the early pictures, but I mean, yeah, definitely Mets.
That's fair.
Mets, A's, Dodgers for sure. Alrighty, so number 3, moving on, we have Doc Gooden. Great spot for him on this list, I think. Played a ton of teams, but obviously the Mets was the longest. His career win-loss, 194 and 112. Awesome. 2,293 career strikeouts. And as a 19-year-old rookie, he earned the first of 4 All-Star selections. So, Dwight Gooden, number 3, sorry.
All right, number 2. This is, I would say this might be slightly controversial in terms of comparing numbers to the rest of the people on this list. We have Darryl Strawberry, 42 career WAR, 335 home runs, only 1,400 hits and a 259 batting average. But when you talk about the Mets and you talk about the New York Mets, Darryl Strawberry comes to everyone's mind, I would assume. I mean, would a cult hero be kind of a fair term to call him? I mean,
that's fair, yeah.
A legend for, not always the greatest reasons, but he's a legend for sure. And when you talk about the faces of the Mets, he's up there for sure. So we have him at number 2.
Yeah, one of my favorite guys from the 80s era for sure. Suspended a few times by MLB. Not a lot of people know that. And yeah, just really popular player during that time. Went to the All-Star game 8 straight times. Unbelievable. 84 to 91. So yeah, one of the legends for sure in the Mets organization. Who we got number 1, Ben?
Tom Seaver. I mean, there's not much to say besides the name Tom Seaver. 109 career WAR, pretty much 110. It's 109.9, 311 wins, 205 losses, and the crazy part is when you pitch upwards of 600 games, holding a career 2.86 ERA is almost unheard of. Probably won't ever be done again. Hall of Famer, 3-time Cy Young, 3-time ERA title, 12-time All-Star. To me, he's a top 2 pitcher of all time, but it's between him and Bob Gibson. Those are my top 2. And I could be swayed either way. Yeah, I can be swayed either way.
Whoa.
Sandy?
I'm taking Seaver over Sandy.
Over Sandy Koufax?
Yep.
Really?
100%. 100%.
Why? This is 2 straight episodes you've done.
That's
this.
valid.
All we're trying to do is a top 5 list, and you just from the top rope, bro.
All right. Well, the Barry Bonds one is very reasonable. That's a whole
Bob
different
Gibson's
story.
number 1.
It is.
Oh yeah. Not even a question.
Hey, that's all I care about.
Not even
That's
a
all I
question.
care about. I can live with everything else if that's your take.
I don't know. I'm going Sandy, Seaver, Bob.
Let me crunch some numbers on Bob Gibson real quick.
Come on, Drew. You don't gotta do that, Drew.
Bob was pitching shutouts every game of his career.
Bro,
it felt like
he had like 18 strikeouts in a World Series game. I'm pretty sure.
like complete
18.
games every. He had 28 complete games in 1969, and then 28 the year before. Then he went 23, 20, 23. Like, who does that? No one's ever gonna do it. No one. I mean, it's absurd. That is absurd. Like we gawk at what Alcantara did this year, and like averaging 7 innings a game. Like Bob Gibson he had a rubber arm. Like the guy just, ridiculous.
Different times.
Yeah, that's my goat on the bump every single time.
I love that.
Alrighty. Well, there you go. Tom Seaver, number 1, great player. huge role in that 69 World Series. Ben already went over his stats, so not much you can say about the guy. Awesome pitcher.
ESPN just came out with the 30 for 30 on the Mets too. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like a three or 4 part series on them. I think that was pretty cool to kind of see all the backstory with Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden. When we think about prospects, like nowadays, and how much we love prospects, Drew. Dwight Gooden was the OG of that. Just from what I gathered, just from the stats that were given and the how they unraveled that story in the ESPN documentary. I mean, he's 18, 19 years old in the 80s, and just throwing absolute heat. So that's a really, really cool documentary that I.
When did that come out?
Came out recently. I think it came out in the last year.
Really?
Just highlighted their whole story, where they won the World Series and how that all happened. And just basically what was going on around in New York, like Ben said, kind of the cult hero aspect, where a lot of things going on in New York at that time, and not all good things. So,
no.
All right, fellas. Well, we got another edition of This or That as we turn the page here, and we got some good questions. You guys were thinking through some different things, and we're looking up some different statistics for these ones, but I'm personally curious to hear your answers to both of these because I got thoughts on both of them as well. But we got 2 questions, but they are bombshell questions based on what we've seen from the last season. So let's start with Drew. Drew, going into 2023, these are 2 teams that we really, really saw a lot from and expect to see more from. More exciting team to watch in 2023. The Baltimore Orioles or the Seattle Mariners?
That's a tough one because last season both of these teams were electric. Lots of young talent on both of them. I'm going to have to go with the Mariners. I've said in a couple other pods that the Orioles, to me, always seem like the most improved, most exciting to watch like every season. And it's going to be the same this season as well probably. But Mariners didn't go to the playoffs since 2001. That was kind of gives my answer right there. Just electric, that whole stadium last year during the playoffs. So, I mean, yeah, I think the Mariners, they made a few moves too. So I'm really excited to see what they accomplish.
If you asked me this question in like a year or like 2, I'd probably say the Orioles. But going into this year, it's easily the Mariners. Mainly because of Julio Rodriguez. I mean, that guy, he's an alien. 25 season as a rookie. Already looks like one of the brightest stars in baseball. Already drawing Griffey comparisons. Yes, he's the man. He is the man. Yeah, I have to agree with Drew. I think just the Mariners story feels a lot more exciting, especially in the division they're in. I mean, that division has been owned by Houston for a very long time, and it probably still will continue to be owned by Houston. In terms of the Orioles, like, they have a lot of great young stars. They have Cedric Mullins. They have Adley. Drew and I talked about this before. Like, Adley feels very undervalued and underappreciated because he's a catcher. So it's not as captivating as a center fielder. And he will never have the power numbers that Julio will have. So Julio's definitely more of an exciting player than Adley is. Obviously, they both finished 1 and 2 in Rookie of the Year voting. I also think that part of it is, like, the Orioles moved their fence back, and it just makes me want to watch less Orioles games because, like, I just don't. I never understood that. Don't get the thought process behind that. But whatever. I mean, we saw it very many times this year. Balls fly out to left field that would have been 4 or 5 rows deep. So I'm going to take the Mariners. I think they're in a more appealing city as well. And then just the presentation of the broadcast. Like, Mariners broadcasts are very appealing to the eye. The camera they have around third base, like, that's so much fun to watch. And they got Big Dumper as well. Like, it's just the Mariners feel a lot more exciting than the Orioles as a whole.
Yeah.
Both teams are going to be
like,
great.
Yeah, when you have a player named the Big Dumper, like, you're going to be more exciting than the Orioles. Like, I'm sorry, it's true.
Well, we talked about Gunnar Henderson too.
Yeah.
I mean, great story from him as a prospect coming up, and Yeah, so lots of talent there for the Orioles.
And the Mariners rotation and bullpen is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's the difference too, is that the Mariners prospects are hitting now, whereas the Orioles, it's going to take a year or two for them to be up to where the Mariners are, young talent wise, because the Orioles have a solid farm.
Yeah, the Mariners just got something special, especially in the American League, where you have the Astros, and then you kind of try to figure out who's going to be that other team that surprises some people.
Exactly.
I might go on a limb and say it's the Mariners this year.
Yeah, it could very well be the Mariners. I mean,
they
did lose some big players, but I mean, just that rotation
with the Castillo trade.
Oh my God,
they lost like their biggest Noel V. Marte. I mean, that dude was going to be. The Reds got a pretty nice.
See, that's the only question is like the Orioles, like going forward, the Orioles have an answer in the middle infield, and I don't feel like the Mariners do.
Yeah.
Because J.P. Crawford's not your guy, and he just won't ever be your guy. I mean, he's a solid player at best, but yeah.
They got a lot of good things going. You mentioned the broadcast too, Ben. The broadcasters too, the announcers.
Oh, so good.
Quality.
So
content.
good.
Quality content, man.
Yes.
I could watch them react live to stuff all day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that. I think I would answer the same way. Seattle Mariners gonna be very exciting just because of Julio.
Yep.
All right. Let's go with a equally hard question. And I think if I asked you guys this 2 months ago, this would have been easy. Now?
Yeah.
Better rotation going into next season. Ben, we'll start with you. The Texas Rangers or the San Diego Padres?
It's hard. It's a hard question. Off the bat, I don't remember what I said to Drew the other day. Off the bat, though, I do want to say off the bat right now, I'm taking the Rangers. And here's why. Because when the Padres, when you have, I'm going to read the names. When you have Nick Martinez, Adrian Morhone, and Seth Lugo as your back-end rotation starters, who are all relievers, that's not good. Not good.
No.
It doesn't. And then you have, like, Darvish had an incredible season last year. I mean, I think consistency-wise and, like, as a number one, DeGrom's a better pitcher than Darvish, but I think Darvish is going to pitch more than DeGrom, obviously. Musgrove, you have health issues. Blake Snell just doesn't look like Tampa Blake Snell, and he hasn't since he's gotten to San Diego. So for that reason, I'm taking the Rangers. Like, they have a lot more depth. We didn't even mention Martin Perez the other day, Drew. Like, that guy had an incredible turnaround season for the Rangers, got paid. Do I think he'll be that good again? No. But do I think he's solid enough to continue to be a consistent starter? Yeah. Then they picked up Eovaldi, who also has health concerns. DeGrom, not much need to be said. And when he's healthy, he's the best pitcher on the planet. It's not even close. They got Heaney. I want to know how you feel about Andrew Heaney, Drew.
I'll get in.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. But again, like it's a. I'm not gonna call him a good starter, but fun fact. He is listed as their number 2. He is listed as their number 2 right now.
Really?
Which is a little odd.
That makes 0 sense.
But then they added John Gray 2 years ago.
0 sense.
Dane Dunning's a young guy too that continues to. He looks okay. I think if he figures it out, Dane Dunning will be a solid starter for them. So, yeah, I'm rolling Rangers. I think in terms of depth and experience, I like it over the Padres.
Okay. That's valid. Me personally, I would love to say the Rangers, but I cannot. Specifically because of the injuries. We talked about this the other day, Ben. You have Eovaldi. You're bringing in Eovaldi. Little injury past, kind of, not as much as DeGrom, the best pitcher on the planet, which kind of you need him out there. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. And the Padres, I think Snell will definitely bounce back. Maybe we'll see that Tampa, Blake Snell again. And Joe Musgrove, I mean, electric in the playoffs, really fun to watch. San Diego kid as well, born and raised. And, yeah, that there's just something about San Diego. I mean, let alone the offense, but
that entire
very
roster.
intriguing to watch. Yeah. But, yeah, I cannot believe we didn't bring up Martin Perez.
Completely forgot about him. I also hate the guy because he's single-handedly sold many Red Sox games by himself. I mean, he was awful on the Red Sox. And then he goes to Texas, and he was an ace.
As far as Andrew Heaney, we all know what he did in New York. Nothing, really. Dodgers, he little improvement, actually, which was surprising to see after what he absolutely did nothing in New York. But I think he'll actually be pretty solid for them. I'm just confused. That makes no sense.
It just might be a New York issue. I mean, because he was fine with the Angels, he was fine with the Dodgers, and I think he'll be fine with the Rangers. I think I don't know. I want to say it's the bright lights type thing, but like he played with the Dodgers and did fine. So I'm not too sure what it is. The Yankees are just. Yeah, that's it. It's just the Yankees.
What?
Gotta
the
be.
Yankees are just
gotta just be the Yankees. Because Garrett Cole went to the Yankees and got worse too. So.
Whoa.
Don't whoa me. You can't tell me that's true. You can't tell me that the Garrett Cole you have now is Houston Garrett Cole.
I mean, you get all that money. Say you're in his position, right? Or any of these Judge, Xander, any of these guys that just got this. So you're going to go into the next season. You have all this money. You should play your hardest, right? But, I mean, yeah, I do agree with you there. I mean, I feel like he definitely needs to step it up.
So, like, here's the difference. Like,
I actually said he has more to prove. I actually said he has more to prove, AJ. You remember that?
He does.
Everyone's confused.
Because, like, for us, right? Like, we made a big starting pitcher acquisition a couple years ago and got Sale, and Sale stinks now. Like I'm done with Sale. Like he doesn't have it anymore. But at least we got like a World Series out of it. Like, are you gonna get a World Series out of Garrett Cole?
I mean, you have to, right?
I don't know.
You have to. Absolutely have to. Spending that much. How much did Sale make? What was Sale's contract?
It was something ridiculous. We're still paying him a lot. And it's just that's the thing. Like it's 5/145. And it was a death wish for us because we can't do anything with it now because no one wants him. No one's gonna take him. No one's gonna take a 33-year-old with arm injuries that hasn't really pitched in 2-3 years. But got a ring out of it, so I can't complain.
See, the thing with the Yankees fans, because our offseason was actually like incredible. Signing Judge to that deal, Rodon, got Rizzo back as well, a few other moves, Canely. So it was a great offseason. But the team looks the same. That's where it's going, like, under people's heads and over it. But
I mean, yeah, outside of Rodon, yeah,
I think it was a phenomenal offseason. Yeah.
See, I was kind of in.
Then again,
I had my.
He's coming. You go ahead.
I was halfway with the whole Judge situation. I don't like paying guys over 30 for that amount of years.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like. If I'm the Yankees, like, I'd be okay not having to pay him and reestablishing my assets somewhere else in different spots, but still good for them nonetheless. He's definitely got good baseball in front of him, no doubt about that. But I just have a personal issue, as with Xander Bogaerts and the Padres, paying a lot of money for a long time for guys over 30, especially guys with injury history, which Judge has had. And then being 6'7", like, your body doesn't hold up at 6'7" when you're 35, 36, 37, as well as it would if you're, 6'2", 6'3". So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that towards the end, like, right before he got signed, I'm like, you might as well just walk. I mean, if you're not going to take whatever. But, I mean, then again, the other top star free agents on the market was Trey Turner as well. And like you, Ben, I hate signing people over 30 as well to those deals. And you look at Trey Turner, great player, but he's also – his deal is probably the best.
I would agree, yeah.
Xander, Judge. Yeah, Xander, Judge, and himself. But, yeah.
I also think, like, in terms of just team impact, like, he impacts, like, money-wise and deserving money. Like, the impact he brings defensively, offensively, and on the bases – they don't really do that. Like, Judge is a great defender, don't get me wrong, but, like, he doesn't play a premium position. So when I'm talking about paying guys that much for that long, like, I want it to be at a premium position. Like right field to me just isn't a premium position. I just wouldn't pay that for a right fielder.
I mean, but last season, majority he actually played in center field. So, I mean, you can really swap him.
Yeah, you could. You could
wherever
for
in the
sure.
outfield.
Well done.
But yeah, there you go.
Y'all got your Yankees Red Sox beef out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to Blake Snell, I think he did kind of come on towards the end of last season. It was very brief, but I think he's trending in the right direction. So I would lean Padres right now.
I'd hope so.
The Rangers,
Yeah.
the Rangers are interesting. The Rangers are super interesting. So
I think it also helps. The
Blake
Padres
Snell,
have
new
the
city,
Padres have a way
so-
better bullpen too. Like the only notable name in the Rangers bullpen is Leclerc, and besides that, it's a pile of garbage. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Rangers and Padres rotations, as well as more exciting team, or if there's a more exciting team that we didn't mention. But we finally have to have the conclusion of. I feel like it's a movie series. The Carlos Correa saga has come to an end.
Yep.
And boys, he is going back to the cold. Carlos Correa is a Minnesota Twin for the foreseeable
Called
future.
Yep.
You can look up the official details again of the deal, but I believe it's 6 years.
Six,
Might be
200?
more than that.
Yep.
Yep.
6 year 200.
We can finally put a capper on this. I guess is my thought. We can finally put an end to all the mystery and the mystique of what in the world was going on. But final thoughts from you guys on Carlos Correa back to the dumpster fire that is the AL Central.
It's just such a boring end to the whole saga.
Yeah.
Like it's
It
just
really is.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to
just
put
like,
it.
oh, you just all
Very
right.
cool.
Well, you're back in Minnesota. Like cool. I don't know. The whole situation was very weird to me. Very unprecedented. I don't get how 2 physicals bounce when you have deals over 10 years, but as soon as you put the deal under 10 years, the physical doesn't.
Like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. And then on the flip side, like I don't really get why the Mets or the Giants also couldn't have done something in the ballpark like that, because they like the player enough to offer him 10 plus years, $300+ million. So why don't you offer him 6-7 years, 250, like top Twins? Like who cares? Just do it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing about that was the failed physicals. It just made no sense. The deal itself, Correa's deal itself with the Twins, I think it's a great deal. He has a chance to earn more money as the years go on with it as well. I'm not sure how, but trying to find the contract details actually. But yeah, it's a great deal. And yeah, like you said, Ben, the Mets could have easily topped that. I'm not sure why they didn't. Maybe it could have been a problem with like Scott Boras. He just said, all right, we're not doing this. We're out, and talk to the Twins. And the Twins just come in and have this surprise press conference to welcome him back.
Yeah.
And it's not exciting at all. Like him, I want to know like what was going in like through his head sitting in that press conference. Like, what are you going to say? Like, oh, I'm happy to be back after you were just about to sign for 13 years in San Francisco. Like, whatever's going to come out of your mouth.
He can make an
is probably-
extra 70 mil. If he stays healthy,
found
he
it?
can make
Yeah.
an extra 70 mil.
There you go.
And that's huge because that's right the ballpark right around the Giants
Yeah.
contract, a
Yeah.
little less, but I mean,
I don't know.
huge.
It's weird though. Like, he's not going to be playing for anything anytime soon. So like that kind of sucks.
Exactly.
Like, he
that's
feels
my-
like.
my question. Like,
Go ahead,
what do
AJ.
we make of the what do we make of the Twins at this point? Do we?
Well, the Twins are also interested in Pablo Lopez as well, AJ. I know the Cardinals are, but we'll have to see.
I mean, the Twins, like, again, they have another one of the best players in baseball. But, again, he's never healthy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, they have shortstop.
You add Pablo Lopez into that.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean,
Nothing's
especially in the
gonna change,
crapshoot that the AL Central is, like, they could easily end up being fine. But it's also, again, like, it won't be a team that makes a run. Like, they could for sure make a wild card, and then they'll play an AL East team and lose.
Could they make a wild card though? Because I feel like the team that wins the AL Central is usually like only a game or two better than all the wild card teams. So
Yeah,
I feel
that
like
is
you're
true.
only going to get one team from the AL Central regardless.
I mean, who do we like
That's my-
more? Do we like the White Sox or do we like the Twins more as a favorite to win that division?
Bro, that's like telling me to choose between Burger King and McDonald's, bro. It's going to be bad food either way. Like, I can't. I don't know, man. Like, the American League Central, like, can we name a worse division in sports right now? Like, it's bad. It's so bad.
You know it's bad. You know it's bad because we bring it up in almost every single podcast.
episode.
It is. It is so
Every
bad.
single episode. And
It's
at one point,
weird
it
though
was,
because like the White Sox have a good roster, they stink. The Twins have
one
a
point,
couple
the AL
stars and
Central
they just
was-
stink.
yeah, it was a dynasty division. The
Mhm.
Royals, the
Mhm.
Tigers,
Yeah,
like that seemed like ages ago now.
yeah.
That was
It's
maybe
crazy.
a decade ago, maybe. It's crazy.
I mean,
It's crazy
especially
how much happened.
once the Tigers lose Miggy too, like that team's gonna have that will just be a zero identity team. That's the only thing they have now is him.
Hey, but they moved the fence up at least. Like that's a
Finally,
plus sign
thank
or
God.
something.
Thank God.
They're doing that instead of focusing on the roster.
Yeah,
But
exactly. They're working. They're worried about the real issues, Drew. The ballpark, not the team.
yeah,
I mean,
Yep.
you know what?
Yeah.
They deserve it. It's their own fault for signing themselves a death wish with Javi Baez. So
It's true. Hey,
dude.
spoken like a
Dude.
true Red Sox fan, bro. Like that is. I mean, spoken
Javi
like a true
Baez,
baseball
Javi
fan.
Baez was a name thrown around for the Red Sox last offseason, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I mean, he's terrible.
Dude,
He is.
he's the most
terrible.
overrated player in baseball. Easily the most overrated.
Has he ever
Let's just
really
put-
been that good? Like, can we be honest with ourselves? Like, I know, like, he was a big name with the Cubs and things like that. Like, has he ever been good? Realistically, has he ever been good? No.
Oh, and you got
No.
me in my wheelhouse, bro. You got me in my wheelhouse. I've watched this man absolutely suck it up in a Cubs Cardinals game. And what do they play on
2018
social media? The one play of El Mago making a defensive play. Who cares? Who cares? He struck out 4 times in the game, swung at a pitch 15 feet out of the zone. The guy is
That's
terrible.
the worst plate discipline I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my goodness, bro.
His
Like,
best. So 2018 was his best
ridiculous.
year. 2018 was his best year. He hit 290, 111 RBIs, and 34 home runs, which is good.
Yeah, the year after that. Yeah, the year after that. What was the average?
The average fell to 281. Then we go to 203.
Oh my god.
Then in
203, bro.
2021,
There's AAA dudes who hit better than that. 203.
2021, he hit a total of 265, but he was hitting 248 with the Cubs before he was traded, which is most of the season. And then last year he hit 238
The
with
man was a piece of the trade.
147 strikeouts. He also struck out 184 times in 2021.
The Mets got rid of Pete Crow Armstrong for him, but I'm not. Did they give anyone else for him? Because
I think there was more, yeah.
PCA was like a top prospect in the
I
Mets
think there is
organization,
more.
So that's
But yeah, I mean,
He
that's
was
the thing.
a
Like,
top piece of the trade deadline, and he was hitting under 250.
also Javi having a Gold Glove
that's
is
unbelievable.
highway robbery because he has one of the worst gloves on the planet.
well, no, even that the Gold Glove. That's a joke nowadays. Juan
Whoa.
Soto's getting a Gold Glove instead of Manny Machado.
Oh yeah, that was
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
not
But to
all
be
of it.
fair, to be fair,
I mean,
it's pretty
becoming
hard
a-
for Manny
it's
Machado
becoming
to
a
get a
problem.
Gold Glove when Nolan Arenado also
Talk
plays.
about
the
it.
game.
Talk about it.
That's fair.
I mean, he's
saying.
is he the greatest defensive player of all time? Are we ready to say that?
Oh, I was gonna say third baseman, but
Who?
keep talking.
Nolan or Machado?
Nolan.
You're saying of all
Nolan?
time.
I mean, yeah. If you look at, I wish I could find the tweet. But it was
Drew, I
defensive
like
run
that.
saved. It was
I like
defensive
that.
run
I'll have that
saved.
myself.
It was defensive run saved every year of his career, and I think he was first. I think every year of his career he was
Yep.
first in defensive run saved, and he's had a long career.
That's it. Hey, we might have to open that can at some point. That's
Like
a
we got
good
Brooks
question.
Robinson's, of course, but like who else would who else are we comfortable rivaling with and name dropping with Nolan Arenado in terms of best defensive
me
player of all time?
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like Mike Trout has always been one of the best
Yeah,
outfielders I've seen.
He's definitely up there. Yeah. Yeah.
Griffey,
But
of
like
course.
I think
Griffey's
also just
definitely-
like in terms of like volume too though, like playing a corner infield position, you have way more volume than you have in center field.
yeah.
So
true.
I think that definitely helps Nolan's case.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean that's a
Give
can of
me,
worms we can go down someday. But it sure feels like it.
Throw a name in, Drew. Throw a name in.
No, give me Machado's offense, but Nolan's
Okay,
defense for
that's
sure.
unfair. That's unfair.
I don't-
get Manny
I
Machado
don't
is
hate
fair,
it.
But
I don't
Nolan
hate it.
Arenado can
No, Nolan's still great.
Yeah.
Nolan's still great though, but I'm just
that.
AJ, do you think Nolan gets to 500?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, he's playing in one of the most historic franchises in baseball. I mean, he's no longer in a Colorado Rockies situation, so I think he's going to be in a situation where he can continue to excel. Yeah, I think I'll say this. I think he at least gets to 500. I think he can hit more than 500.
He needs 201.
okay.
So,
He's 31.
I mean,
He'll be 32 by the season starting. I feel like it's definitely reasonable. I don't think he goes way
close.
past 500, but I think he gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he ever not won a Gold
Yeah,
Glove?
so I don't know, but yeah. There's not been a year where he has not won a Gold Glove. Ever since he's entered the majors, he's become the best third baseman.
That's ridiculous.
That's
So
crazy.
let's be real about that.
I don't know. He
And he has
opted
6
back into that
platinum
contract.
gloves, too, which
he's
is
ready to
also
roll with that
insane.
team, so
We have the
wow.
best corner infielders in baseball. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, like
Mm.
yeah,
Easily.
there's no.
You
no
probably have the
argument
best
about that. So,
defense in baseball.
It's true, and the Yankees. Yankees right now are the best one of the
Yep.
best teams in baseball defensively. So because they got our guy here. So maybe.
Yeah.
We'll talk
we
about
got
it. We'll talk
IKF.
about it. We're opening the can too much. All
You
right,
got Gleyber.
let's get into something that I think we need to give more hype because I think I need to issue an apology to the Arizona Diamondbacks because we have kneecapped them so many times during this show because they haven't been good this, they haven't been good that, and they haven't been good in so long, and it's true. I think they're turning over a new leaf. You saw last year. You guys remember last year in the Arizona Diamondbacks with a month left to play were like 8 games back of the wild card?
Yeah.
Like everyone, nobody talks about that because they were so bad the rest of the year. They almost got a playoff spot,
Mm-hmm.
and it was largely in part because of the team that they have and the guys that they're bringing in now. So let's talk a little bit about the Arizona Diamondbacks offseason and where we see let's even give a January prediction of where the Arizona Diamondbacks fall in a loaded NL West now. I mean loaded. You have two teams in that division that are probably top 5, top 10 teams in baseball.
Yeah.
So what are our thoughts on the Arizona Diamondbacks offseason and then going into 2023?
well, obviously, the offseason, the big name around the Blue Jays and Diamondbacks was Dalton Varsho, and that. Well, we're supposed to be talking about the Diamondbacks here, but I'm going to say with the Blue Jays, with that pickup, that's actually great because they no longer have Jansen and Dalton be able to play catcher as well as the outfield. So, I mean, insane pickup, and he's a great bat. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a tough loss for the Diamondbacks because me personally, I don't think their offseason accomplished too much. Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Well, if we want to talk about the Blue Jays Diamondbacks trade, I think that the Blue Jays got fleeced. That's my honest opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
They got
From a product-
Gabby Moreno and
the
Lourdes
trade
Gurriel out of it. Like Dalton Varsho's a great player, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but
But like he's another guy that like has had it feels more like we praise Dalton Varsho's advanced stats than his actual stats. And then once again, we praise more of his glove and versatility. Like trading for a glove is all fine in that, but like they gave up Gabby Moreno. Like the number a
Gurriel
number
part doesn't
one
really
prospect
bother
in
me, though.
baseball. For Dalton Varsho. It just doesn't I don't know. I didn't love it. And I think Gurriel in his own right
yeah, I mean
is still a good player as well. I mean, he's definitely not. He doesn't have the glove that Varsho has, but I think as a package, he has a more consistent and longer career of producing over Varsho. But yeah, putting Moreno in that trade really put it over the top for me. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of the Diamondbacks in general, do they have a good offseason? Yes. Do I think it matters? No, because the West is still it's
Yeah.
loaded. It's
Do we
it's
think
still
the
the
Giants
Dodgers.
bounce back? Do we think the Giants
The
bounce back?
Giants, I think the Giants got worse. So no.
Really? I agree.
mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Do
think
I
that
think-
100 whatever win year it was a fluke year. The Giants just aren't very good anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
Well, then they just started handing out these random contracts because they missed out on two
yeah,
good stars.
yeah. Like the
That's
Haniger contract
hilarious.
was that's
Dude.
They missed out on Aaron Judge.
How much did
Yeah.
Conforto's a 1-year deal, but I think it's still like really he hasn't played in the season, so I think it's still like a little excessive.
Yeah.
for what they
I
paid
think
him, but-
I think the biggest thing to be excited about as the Diamondbacks is your laundry list of prospects. Like, and they've already run into the issue of having too many good young outfielders that they are trying to trade them. Like, they're trying to trade Jake McCarthy because they have Alec Thomas, Corbin Carroll, Jake McCarthy, and then you have guys that haven't even reached yet. Like, you have Lawler coming up, Lawler probably debuts this year. You just drafted Drew Jones. He won't be here for a while, but again, it's another guy, in the system. Dominic Fletcher's I think he debuted last year. Another one of their top prospects. Pitching wise, they have so many pitching prospects. And then they have, I don't want to call Ketel Marte a cornerstone franchise piece, but that's what he's been for them.
Yeah.
So
He's not bad.
he's had a consistent and solid career. You know what you're going to get out of him, and I think he returns to form this year if he stays healthy. So
I'd like to.
I don't think they're a last place team. I think the Giants might be a
they're not
last place.
last place team. Right, they're not last
Yeah,
place team.
no.
And depending on what the Giants do, I think the Diamondbacks could be in that mix again for a wild card spot. But it would be interesting to see because the NL is so much more low than the AL. Good grief.
The Rockies are the last place team in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up at this point Zach Gallen because of the year that he had last year. And just to kind of rub salt in my own wound of what we did in the Marcell Ozuna trade a while back. Let me just play this out.
Cardinals have traded a lot of great players.
Yep. Oh, I know, Ben. I know. The Marlins, when we made that trade for Ozuna, let me just list you. There were two prospects in there as well. Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen were involved in that trade.
Yep.
Which means if we had both of those, I don't even want it. Oh my goodness. If we had both of those guys in our pitching rotation right now, we would not be talking about the Texas Rangers or San Diego Padres.
No.
We would not.
No.
But my point is, Zach Gallen, and I basically, just from watching MLB Network, have noticed this too. Zach Gallen has come on both last year and I think this year into potentially top 10, top 15 pitcher conversation. Just with the stats that he's producing.
Easily.
So if anything, if the Diamondbacks are going to have a good season, I'm putting it on the shoulders of Zach Gallen. I mean, he's become the ace. You get Zach Davies as well, but I mean, Zach Davies is Zach Davies. So I think he's a huge piece to this, that they didn't do anything with him, because you could have got a haul for him because of the superstar status he's got now, and you keep him as part of that rotation, the ace of your rotation. So I'd be curious to see if he actually sprouts as everyone says he's going to, because that makes the Diamondbacks a little bit more dangerous too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, you mentioned Corbin Carroll. I'm big fan of his, so I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks got a load.
He's gonna be nice.
They got a load of people.
They have a lot of outfielders, so I'm interested to see if they make any moves. Christian Walker also had an incredible year for them too. Also, he's a good defender as well. That seems more like an outlier to me. I don't think he's gonna nearly have the season he had. I think he'll be fine, but yeah, I mean, hopefully Gallen, stays with it. His 2021 wasn't very promising. Obviously, he bounced back. 2022, very promising. So hopefully, the more innings he gets, the better he ends up looking. Because he really hasn't pitched a whole lot as a whole in his major league career. He went from 15 games to 12 games to 23, and then last year 31. So if they can get 25 games out of him, and he can sit around the ERA that he was at, they'll be fine. They'll have a good ace to build around. because they have pitching prospects coming up, like Ryan Nelson. Like they have a great farm. They've done a great job with their farm.
Yeah.
The team you bring out on opening day is not necessarily going to be the same team at the end of the year, so we will we'll see what they do.
Well, speaking of pitchers, I think it's only fitting that we at least get each other's thoughts on this, because I hope this is one of the last times we'll talk about it. But Trevor Bauer, guys, go. I mean, like, what do you guys got? Like, is there a situation, a team, a franchise, an organization, a city that wants this man as a part of, like, within a 50-mile radius of where they play baseball, or is this a done deal where he's trying to find somewhere overseas to play?
I personally don't want to get into whatever his business is, but if I'm any team, like any team in the MLB, throw him the minimum, because that's what you can offer him now. Any team should go after him. I mean, that's just another – he hasn't pitched in a while. That's the biggest thing. But, I mean, throw a low number at him. I mean, you might as well.
Okay, I know we're not going to go into the actual, like, personal situation that went on and why he got suspended. But just from the off-the-field situation, like, do you want that in your clubhouse?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it can hurt your team as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was going to mention that. But, yeah, I mean, whatever team you are, I mean, whatever in your head, if – that's going to make your team better.
You're saying just give it a shot.
You're not
just give
really.
It a shot regardless.
Yeah, I mean, if just because of the price range, I mean, why not? But yeah, I could see it could definitely hurt your team as well. So I mean, it's both ways. It's a really tricky situation.
I don't. Yeah, it's a very odd situation.
Yep.
I agree with Drew. I think you throw him the minimum. I think this is a great opportunity for a team like Oakland to throw him the minimum.
Yes.
Get a pitcher, because you're Oakland. There's no more damage that you can cause in Oakland to yourself. So
that is so mean.
It's the truth. It's the hard and honest truth. Like just throw him the minimum. Try and get him. It really doesn't matter if he works out. It works out. Like it's not like there's stars on that team that he's gonna rub up against and create controversy. Like, the team is just throwaway prospects that didn't work out. That's what that team is. Like Christian Pache. Like, there's nothing there. Especially now that Sean Murphy's not there. There's nothing there. Not a single thing is in Oakland. So
that is so depressing, bro.
So I think honestly, if you're Oakland, that's a great opportunity for you. In my mind, I was trying to rack, like, if we compare this to the NFL, a team that would take a chance on a player like this would be the Raiders. The Raiders are, the bad boys of the NFL. They have a notoriety for that stuff. A lot of their players do the wrong things. So I didn't really find one for the MLB. There really isn't one like that. So I came down to Oakland because there's no real negative that you can get by signing Trevor Bauer.
I feel like that makes that worse, though. I feel like that makes that worse. The fact that
can it get worse?
The fact there's nothing to rub up against, and that he can just kind of roam the clubhouse and roam the streets of Oakland, like, and just own the city of Oakland, pretty much. I feel like that makes that worse than having something like veteran players or something to be like, hey, here's how we do things here.
I guess, but like in terms of just like that franchise, they have nothing going for them. So just do something. Like, get your name out there somehow. Whether it's, like, no light is bad light. Put yourself in the light. Sign Trevor Bauer for league minimum.
I mean, it's valid.
In the light. Is that what we're gonna title this episode of the podcast? Put the A's in the light. Oh my goodness.
They might as well. They got to do something.
Can't.
This just feels like a perfect opportunity for them. That's all I'm saying. It just feels great because they don't want to spend money, so you don't spend money. No other team has really showed that they want Bauer either, so it feels like they could pretty easily get him uncontested. I don't know if he'd want to go there though. That's the issue. Like, he could easily just say no and keep doing YouTube because he's doing fine on his own without baseball.
Dude, I hated the whole thing when he thought he was LeBron, made the whole YouTube video saying he was going to the Dodgers. He had all the hats lined out, what team he was going to go to. Bro.
I mean, the guy's so unlikable.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great pitcher, but he's so unlikable.
Easily the villain of baseball.
Yeah. So, not the A's, but if there was another team, could you see him? Could you see him on any
No,
of the
Reds?
basically?
Here's my take. I can't see him on a team. Period. The Reds, yeah. That'll make a lot of people happy to send him back to where he started playing baseball. One of the most dysfunctional franchises in the majors. I can't see him on a team. Period. I really can't. Like
that's certainly the feeling.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he's got to find a career in YouTube or doing something else. Like find another job, bro. Like this is not happening. Antonio Brown of the MLB is what people are saying, and I agree with it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. If I'm the Twins,
Just go to the Twins.
Oh no.
That's
Drew,
who I would get if
come
I was
on.
the Twins.
Man, we are just
That's who I would get.
we have no chill. We have no chill regarding the A's and the Twins.
What other
today. That's
teams though? Like
there is no.
The Twins would kind of make more sense though, rather than the A's. The A's aren't gonna win, but I mean, you bring in Bauer. We don't know if he's gonna be the same. I mean, we've been saying that, but I mean, you bring in Bauer, maybe a few other pieces. But then again, the Twins are talking about trading. What's his name? Second baseman Luis Ariz.
Sure.
So I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, he probably shouldn't be on the baseball field. But if he was, it would probably be the A's.
yeah.
That's what we got out of that.
Oh, Oakland. It's only a matter of time before they blow that place up and move to Las Vegas, wherever they're going to go.
Yeah, which just doesn't. It's not going to change anything because it's going to be the same roster.
And have 6,000 people in attendance for the games. That's
Can you name any A's prospect?
Prospects,
Either-
Max Muncy. It's the only one I can name. Just because.
No, like currently. Current.
What?
Current.
Yeah.
current, like or just a current player on the A's. Is there a current
No,
player on the A's?
Max Muncy is a current player. That's the only reason. Current prospect.
another Max
current
Muncy?
prospect. Yes. That's the only reason why I know him, because
There's another Max Muncy?
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
That's trippy. That's really trippy.
Yeah, that is.
No, but
I did
can
not
we,
know that. Is either Ty? I mean, I'm guessing that he's their top prospect, maybe.
let's
what
see.
about like on their
Who is
opening
that?
roster? Can we name one player?
Christian Pache.
Yeah.
Do they still have the guy with the cannon of an arm?
I'd say Stephen Vogt, but
He
just
retired.
retired. I think he's actually.
Oh, Laureano?
He's
Is that who you're talking about?
Laureano's still on the A's?
I think so. You got suspended again though. PEDs. That might have been last year, but he got suspended.
Why do we talk about the A's on this podcast? Like why do we waste our time?
Do you think?
There's a reason why. Like,
Do you think people in Oakland? You think people in Oakland just wake up and say, "All right, hey buddy, let's go to the A's game today"?
you can't. You can wake up 30 minutes before the game starts, walk
be like,
straight
"Oh,
through.
exactly.
I can sit behind home plate for $50.
Walk to your seat with everywhere
That's
you
true.
can go. Like you can sit anywhere. You can sit anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can buy a ticket and it basically sit wherever you want. It doesn't matter what the ticket says.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it once. Just probably only once, but the A's second prospect is Ken Waldichuk, and he's 25. When he debuted this year.
Oh, dude, he's a Yankee. I can't believe that. I forgot they had.
Oh,
Okay,
because
so I guess-
the Montes trade, right?
Yep.
So
Forgot all
I guess
about
the
that.
last question I have before we hop off then, Ben, is what's a worse stadium? Fenway Park or the A's Coliseum?
Oh, the A's easily. Fenway's a nice
it
stadium.
close?
It just no.
I don't think it's close.
Fenway's like
I
a
mean,
cool
I didn't-
stadium. It just
I
the
thought
experience of going to games at Fenway sometimes sucks.
So,
Like unless you're in like the first 10 or 15 rows, like the seats are tiny, like not as much, like there's still the old wooden seats. Kind of sucks. There's poles everywhere. But
Have you been to Fenway quite a bit?
yeah, I was there the other weekend actually.
Nice. So yeah, like I was gonna say, is there like a game where you can go and it's not as packed? Because with the Red Sox, it's probably
Yeah,
similar
it's
to
usually
yours.
always
It's
pretty packed. I don't think I've been to a Red Sox game where
Yeah.
like we could really move around and go wherever we want.
Yeah, stuff.
I don't know. I'm sure you did on that the playoff game that one year. Probably sit wherever you wanted.
Yeah, but then we went back. We went to the Subway Series where they beat the Mets. So
Oh,
it's all right.
man.
That I want to go to a
Alright,
Subway Series so bad.
Dude,
I will say though,
was-
Subway Series is for me
awesome.
feel a lot cooler when they're at Citi Field rather than Yankee Stadium. It's just for whatever reason I
really?
like watching them more when they're at Citi. rather than Yankee Stadium. Yeah, feels louder. Just feels a lot
Interesting.
louder.
I disagree, of course, but
Like the one when Lindor hit 3 home runs. That was
nah,
electric.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Or that might have been the game where Baez was on the team too.
He
and
was.
Chirping at
He
Stanton when
was,
he hit a
yeah.
home run. When he was, dude, I
do too. Javi
I
Baez
don't
sucks.
know anyone that loves Javier Baez. Oh man! All right, fellas. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Dugout. We will continue to bring you the best content and the best Yankees Red Sox beef that we have to offer each and every week on this podcast. We got lots more to talk about. Catchers and pitchers, I think, report in about a month, just a little bit over a month.
yeah.
40-something
Right back
days.
into it, fellas. We're gonna be right back into it. So.
World Baseball Classic.
Oh,
I'm
Baseball
so
Classic,
excited
sure.
for that. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
Baseball Classic coming up. We got
Oh
we
my
got
God.
lots to talk about, and who knows? We'll see if the U.S. can pull it off. But
They
thank you
actually
guys so
have a
much
good
for tuning
team.
in. They do have a good team. They have a really good team, and the best corner infielders that the world
Yep.
has to offer. For Carlos Fanatic, AJ Caldwell, that is Yankees ride or die guy Drew Zagrossi, and our Green Monster Man, Red Sox fanatic Ben. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week on the Dugout.